If all trustees can have a seat, we'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Good afternoon, everyone. I call the Penn West Council of Trustees regular meeting to order. Welcome. Rachel, can you please take roll call?
Trustee Bellini,
Present.
Trustee Dunbar,
Here.
Trustee Jones,
Here.
Trustee John,
Here.
Trustee Kennedy, Trustee Logue, Trustee Maggi,
Here, I'm here.
Trustee Nikolai, Trustee Oberlander,
Here.
Trustee Pape,
Here.
Trustee Pickett,
Here.
Trustee Weaver,
Here.
Trustee Whitson,
Here.
Trustee Yamba, and Trustee Yost. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Rachel. There's a word that crossed my sphere at our last meeting when we were in Clarion. It was our last trustee meeting and my first as chair of Penn West, though not my first as chair. We had just gone through the snow and cold spell of the decade. We were to have a trustee and cabinet level retreat that day, and we did, and it was successful, though we missed those who were unable to be present with us at that time. We're nearly full house here today. Thank you for your attendance, for the trustees, for the cabinet, and for all staff. Rachel does such an excellent job of taking care of every single one of us that I'm surprised that the many mistakes I made that day did not make it into the minutes, and these should not reflect that way either. So know that at the beginning of that meeting, I was holding to start because I was waiting for my vice chair, who was dutifully already sitting right beside me, ready to go. And that when Dr. Marcy McConnell got a standing ovation, I was so elated to jump up to stand for her. I didn't mean to knock my microphone off the table, and the guns of Navarone were going off on our side from where it got set. But our team behind us got it all set back in perfect order. It was a portmanteau, this word. It's called exhauster-whelmulated. And sometimes in higher ed, I think we all get exhauster-whelmulated. We get really taken with the duress of things, yet we're overwhelmed in a good way. We're happy overwhelmed. We love being around students. We started this morning with a trustee cabinet workshop in common with a speaker who better helped us to understand each other as well as ourselves. So it was a placement of knowing each other more so that our work is more improved. It is part of our mission to have shared governance. It is worthy to say that in Kathleen Elwood's work, who was the presenter today as Executive Director of Academic and Career Development for Gannon, she was recently named to the Integration Committee of Gannon as it integrates its university with a university from Ohio, another Catholic-based university. In our last meeting, trustees had a number of follow-up for the president, and each received due attention. As an example, I'd like to ask Trustee Governor Secretary Neil Weaver to speak for a moment on his recent presentation to those in student government at Cal U.
Thanks. So I had a great opportunity to meet with students in both a class, American Politics, and the student government. And both, I think, were really helpful to the students. I think they appreciated it, but more so I appreciated it. They had really insightful questions. They talked about lobbying and how they're going to be able to affect change in Harrisburg, and a lot of questions on the American politics side of what's going on in the world today. But it's just to say that I appreciate the follow-up. I speak at a couple of the high schools in my area, and I love talking to students. And so it was great to be at California. Because it's showing students that, I came from Clarion, but we're all one university. And I was proud to be able to talk to those folks. So.
For your service that day, trustee. All trustees are able to express ways in which we hope to impact our university, Penn West, though they all may be different ways, whether it's speaking at a class or writing postcards to prospective students, or speaking as a group perhaps at a university, so that faculty, staff, and community members, as well as students, can benefit. Are there any other trustees that would like to comment on the opportunity that they've experienced since this current administration? Hearing none, we're pleased to see President John and our executive council, as well as our faculty, promoting the best attributes of Penn West out loud constantly. Cabinet members are making their own presentations here, and faculty student highlights are celebrated. March is Women's History Month, and I would like to end this with a quote from one of the greatest women in history, in my opinion, Mother Teresa. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. I would now like to welcome our new student trustee. A welcome to I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I missed the Pledge of Allegiance. I told you there would be another error. I think this is a perfect time, since it is Trustee Sonia's last meeting, that she lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Sonia, do you mind to do that for us? Thanks. Still on the topic of student trustee, we'd like to welcome our Clarion student trustee, Timothy John. He's from the Clarion campus. It's his first official meeting following his approval by the Board of Governors. Tim, would you like to say your background rather than me reciting it? Would you like to say a couple of words?
Privileged to serve in this Council of Trustees for Penn West University, representing Clarion. I'm a bio pre-med student, and it's been a pleasure to serve in this council, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the years to come. Thank you.
Trustee, I would like to commend you for your service in the Navy. Thank you, sir. Now it's our greatest honor to recognize our student trustee, Sonia, at her last meeting. Sonia will be graduating in May. Would you like to talk about your degree, Sonia?
So I will be graduating in May with a degree in English literature and a minor in communications with honors in summa cum laude. I have been a very active member during my time in Edinburgh. I'm part of the Honors College, student trustee, obviously, a Highland ambassador. I'm part of PLA. But I've also worked extensively through several departments throughout the college, including campus life, the OSD, admissions, new student orientation, the student center, down in the gym. I love this campus and everything that it has done for me. And I want to thank all of you for allowing me to come into this position and allowing me to grow. For some of you, this is probably the most you have ever heard me or will ever hear me speak. It is not often that I talk during these meetings, and when I do, I tend to keep it pretty brief. And that is not because I don't have opinions or things to say or questions to ask. Believe me, I've plenty of those. But rather because despite doing this position for almost 2.5 years, almost everything about it still scares like the crap out of me. Coming into this position, I had certain expectations of how I thought all of this would go, and I thought I knew what I was doing. But looking back, most of those expectations were smashed because I truly had no idea what I was doing. But that isn't bad at all. I want to clarify that. In fact, it forced me to grow and develop outside of the classroom. Being the student trustee has truly changed my experience as a student, and it is something that I would never change going back. You are often unable to see how far you've come until you look back and you realize how much you've changed. And looking back, I can see how much I've changed and how far I have come being able to do this because of this position and because of my involvement on this campus. And so I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to be the student trustee and be the voice for students of Edinburgh. And it's been a remarkable experience. Thank you.
Rachel's giving me the hook. We're not done with you yet. So I want to say that though you joined us since the year 2022, that Representative Trustee Dono and I heard you give a speech at Clarion. That you were remote, but the class was there and you were very well spoken and not in the least bit nervous. So we think that you might be stretching that a bit. You've gotten to a different state of advocacy in your current role. During your tenure at Edinburgh, this is in tribute to you, Sonia's been a member of the Highland Ambassadors. She's been at the Fighting Scots Radio, Student Honors Advisory Board, Edinburgh Honors Program, Student Government Association, Penn West Leadership Academy. In addition to all of these clubs, Sonia worked in several departments across campus, including campus life, peer mentor coordinators, admissions, residence life, housing, news, student orientation, camps, conference services, and the Office for Students with Disabilities. Quite the accomplishments. After graduation, Sonia's going to pursue a Master of Student Arts in higher education. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for you for this service to this university and to our Council of Trustees. We wish you every success in your future endeavors. And as a token of appreciation, you and I are going to move to that section of the room so your photograph can be taken by the Penn West logo. Thank you for your attention, and we all thank you for your service. With this appreciation, and it lists about your terms of service, something that you can keep on your walls of wherever you work and go to school for forever. Know that we care, that you cared to do this. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, JD.
Can I help you? Can I
Yeah,
help
sure. We're doing like a.
Don't worry, Mr. President, I'm not going to miss your report again. We're welcoming our new student trustee, Aiden Dugan. Am I saying your name right, Aiden? Okay, so Aiden will tell us about himself briefly because he's not functioning as a student trustee, but he's here because he knows he's incumbent and incoming. Thank you so much.
So much. I very much appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I'm Aiden Dugan. I grew up right here in Edinburgh. I'm a secondary education social studies major. I'm involved in admissions, UPB, peer mentor, very involved on campus. I just want to thank Dr. Anderson, the Council of Trustees, for this honor of being the next student trustee here at Edinburgh's campus. I know that I have gigantic shoes to fill with Sonia. She has been a huge influence to me, and I just want to thank her and wish her the very best of luck in her future endeavors. And if anyone ever has any questions, concerns, or praises with anything over across the campus, please always make sure to reach out because I'm here for the student body and will always make sure that your voice is heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aiden. We're very proud to welcome you. I want to also add that you served in the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards Counselor and that you were assistant football coach for the General McLean football team. That's incredible. We're very proud for you to serve here. Next up, the Starring Act is President Dr. John Anderson. Would you like to share your quarterly report, Mr. President?
Chair Dunbar, I'd be grateful to share the quarterly report. I want to begin by joining you and thanking Trustee Yost for her service. It's been so fantastic to work with you and watch the way that you carry yourself as a member of the trustees and represent the students. I've had the chance to work closely with Trustee John and Trustee Whitson and look forward to our work together and welcoming Trustee Aiden Dugan. He and I had the chance to meet last week and talk through his hopes for this role, and I look forward to working with him and all of you. I also want to take a minute and thank those of you who are in the audience. You see, trustees, if you look forward, you see our cabinet members there. You'll hear their reports, but they put in so many hours to make this institution what it is. And I am so grateful for the opportunity to work with such great professionals. You'll see behind them, we have our Senate leadership, many of our union leadership here, our AFSCEP leaders, and so many others who work to help Penn West become what it is. This last quarter has been another great quarter for Penn West as we work to build a solid foundation on all 3 campuses and online, so all 4 campuses, and in each of our communities. And I want to thank each of you for being part of that movement as we build a bright future for Penn West. We recently welcomed all our students back from spring break, our faculty back as well. We're now looking forward to the last few weeks of this spring semester. We just finished our Middle States accreditation visit, and it went very well. So many people on campus were involved in the preparation for that visit. We can't yet publicly speak of how good it was, but it was fantastic. And we will have the final outcome of that report later this summer. And if all goes according to what we heard, no matter where you are in Pennsylvania, you'll hear us celebrating. But we do expect to receive that full evaluation in May with a vote later on in June. During the meeting today, we'll also hear from our new interim CFO, Teresa Smith, who's with us. She'll present several items for review and action, including the capital spending plan, proposed student fees, proposed dining fees. We'll also hear from Provost and Interim Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Jim Fisher, who will share updates on the Center for AI and Emerging Technologies. He will also discuss our plan for enhancing student outcomes and highlighting recent faculty-student collaborations. We will hear from Enrollment Associate Vice President David Dollins and Assistant Vice President Adam Reynolds. They will give an update on enrollments currently and in the fall semester and share details about upcoming admission events, financial aid updates, and some existing initiatives for the next enrollment cycle. We'll then hear today from Dr. Susan Fensky, Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness and Student Affairs. She will provide several updates on her division, which is very diverse and vast, and we look forward to hearing those updates. And Vice President for Advancement and Clarion Campus Administrator Jim Geiger will give us an update on fundraising goals for the current fiscal year and our annual day of giving and athletics. I don't want to preempt his exciting news, but there's a lot to be shared there, and we're looking forward to it. We're making a lot of progress in the area of communications and marketing. We'll hear in just a minute from Kelly Rapinski, Vice President for Communications and Marketing. She will discuss current marketing communications initiatives, a lot about the branding efforts, and highlighting members of our campus community, student engagement efforts, and data insights from our university event calendar. Lastly, trustees, I've got one action item to present for your approval today. The action item is the order of succession. PASSHE Board of Governors Policy 1983-14-A, appointing interim and acting chief executive officers, requires that each state system university president develop and publish an order of succession, identifying in rank order members of its university executive management team who will act on behalf of the president in their absence in the event that the president is temporarily unable to fulfill the responsibility of the position or in the event there is a vacancy. We obviously hope neither of those happen. I hope all of you hope neither of those happen for the next 20 years or so. But PASSHE Board of Governors Policy 1983-14A, appointing interim acting chief executive officers, requires that we present these to the board and the council of, or to the Council of Trustees, and they approve it. The policy requires that the Council of Trustees approves and certifies the order of succession plan and directs the president to deliver the succession plan to the chancellor in accordance with Board of Governors Policy 1983-14-A. Today, I am recommending the following to the Council of Trustees, effective March 27th, 2025. In the absence of university president, the following individuals will assume responsibility for the operation of the university in the order listed. Number one, Dr. James Fisher, Interim Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost. Number two, Dr. Susan Fensky, Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness and Student Affairs. Chair Dunbar, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will entertain a motion that the Council of Trustees, upon recommendation of the university president, approve the university order of succession as required by board and governor's policy. I will need a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? If so, please so say by saying nay. We're voting on this motion.
Order of succession.
We're voting on the order of succession motion.
Yeah, Chair Dunbar, because
All in
there are a few
favor, say
people
aye.
that are on Zoom, can you
All
do a roll
opposed?
call vote?
Nay. At this time, we'll move to the public comments portion of the meeting. Oh, sorry.
Since we have the video on, do we need to do a roll call vote? We do not. Great. Thank you.
Rachel, do we have public comments?
We have one public comment, Lee Williams. He's coming to the podium right now.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Williams.
Oh. Good afternoon, Council. Thank you for having me today. I just want to first say my name's Lee Williams. Been here at Edinburgh for 20 years now, faculty member in the Department of Social Work, Sociology, and Human Services. And ultimately, I am here today as simply me. Nobody asked, nobody requested, nobody required. I've occasionally been here under other auspices. Today, I'm speaking to you simply as Lee, the human before you. Really want to speak about three things today. The first is to say the last time I was here to be a little bit critical about the search for president. And I want to own the fact that I think I was wrong in my criticism. And then in the end, things have worked out to the benefit of us as a university. So I would like to speak to that for just a minute. I think the Middle States visit, I'm glad to hear that it's successful and that things went well for us as a university, but I do think it also exposed some of the challenges to this multimodal form of learning and form of interacting, and I believe the council itself had some of those experiences as well along the way, and I'd like to speak for a moment about that as well. And then last, I'd like to talk a little bit about culture here at Penn West, which seems to me to be the next priority. I think the ordering has ultimately been correct in trying to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's and make sure the systems ultimately work. Now that the systems are moving in the right direction, it seems to me we have to effort at making sure we as humans are moving in the right direction ultimately as well. So first, John, welcome. You said earlier, 9 months. We're glad you're here. And again, I think the diverse group of people that came together to make the choices and take the chances that we did shows exactly the power of diversity coming together to share ideas and to bump heads and also to work together to figure out how to make good decisions on behalf of the whole of our body. So welcome, and we wish you success, and we hope the board will continue to support you in making things good and successful for us as we move forward. Number two, multimodal and camera learning and in-person learning and web-based learning and synchronous learning and asynchronous learning. It's a complicated world, right? Complicated world to do business in, complicated world to do education in, complicated world to do family and humaning in, as we embrace all those tools and techniques, right? To do our thing with each other as human beings. Seems to me our task is to begin to lead in those areas. We can't be following, in essence, the old ways of doing things. And I hope you'll carry a little water forward to middle states and that they too need to improve their processes for accrediting institutions like ours. Their process seems very much designed to accredit an institution that is taken over by another institution. It almost seems to be what it demands by its policies and its procedures. We, I think, are not in that circumstance and are endeavoring to create an institution of 4 campuses of equal quality and opportunity, and then together as a whole create something even stronger than that as we work together. I hope that's the goal for all of us and that we should speak to middle states about such things, but we also have to speak to each other in how we might do business and work with each other in those ways. And in fact, it might actually cost equal as much or maybe even a little more than doing business the old-fashioned way. And we're going to have to get comfortable with that. But I'd like to at least advocate for the possible benefits of said interaction and said ways of trying to create new synergies and new opportunities between us. I ask you to imagine a visit like Middle States, much like a classroom in which everything is set up so that each campus is visited, all 4. There's an internet campus, there's all 4 physical campuses. They are all part of the visits, and at each visit is also Zoomed. So the opportunities in terms of times of day, the opportunities in terms of diversity, the opportunities in terms of equitability, and the opportunities in terms of inclusion are all enhanced and improved by a multiplicity of factors, right? By a multiplicity of numbers, in a multiplicity of ways. What kind of good energy can come to that as we begin to bring us from Edinburgh to Clarion, we from Edinburgh and Clarion to California, California and Clarion to Edinburgh? You all sitting around this table know the need for that very sort of dynamic and interaction in order to effectively and authentically human. I'm asking you to keep understanding that about us in our classrooms, in our interactions with our students, and in our actions with each other as colleagues, ultimately, and workers as well. We too desperately deserve and need this human-to-human interaction, as well as the ability to be in high-quality physical spaces and places that have really good quality cameras and microphones and really good quality staff that service such things. I know we're working those directions, something we just need to keep ultimately working toward and for. Lastly, I just have a little bit of time left. I want to say something about the culture in general across our campuses. And we've spoken before, and you've heard before, right? There's some really good things and some really less good things in terms of the dynamics that have been created by the mergers. The possibilities and the positives are built on the ways that we do the first 2 things that I mentioned, the ways that we support our leadership and our collective leadership, faculty senate, our faculty unions, our staff unions, all of us working together to do these sorts of experiences. That's an essential piece of the puzzle. The idea that we begin to think about how to make this technology work for us and with us and not just around us and on us, absolutely essential. And this energy then taken in those 2 endeavors to create the chance for us to do and engage in new ways of thinking about us as a university, new ways to think about us as a collective, as 4 campuses, and not just as 4 campuses, because those 4 campuses are 3 separate geographic units. They're also a global campus. The internet campus is a combination of all 3. Talk about complex, talk about, right, challenging in terms of its diversity, talk about complex in terms of trying to make sure there's equitability across units and within units and all of the rest. And then to make sure that we're including not just sort of the named people and the people back before us as the leadership team and beyond, but we are engaging our students, our faculty, and our staff in these processes as authentic, equal partners in this endeavor, not simply as tools in the process to get things done. So thank you so very much for your time. Thanks for the extra couple of minutes. It's greatly appreciated. And thanks for all you do to make us who we are and what we do. We appreciate it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our local ABSCUF representatives from each campus who are here today. Joining us in person is Dr. Sam Claster. We had a chance to chat at lunch where I served him his faux mojito. He is at Penn West Edinburgh, and virtually we welcome Dr. Joyce Overly from Penn West Clarion and Dr. Mario Mason from Penn West Cal. The floor.
Colleagues are actually unable to be here today. I will be speaking on behalf of all of
You are.
ABSCUF. I know that one of us will be representing ABSCUF and Penn West at the inauguration of our former president, Dr. Bernowski, in Westchester tomorrow. Good afternoon, trustees, Dr. Anderson, colleagues, and students. As my colleague, Dr. Meitzen, reminded you all at the last board meeting, my reports can get a bit loquacious, so get comfy. In preparation for today, I looked over the many reports I've given over the past 3 years, and it's clear that I've taken it upon myself to give detailed updates and analysis of exactly where we are in the integration process, what progress we've made, and what challenges lie ahead. Today, I'm going to focus a little less on the particulars of Penn West and more on the importance of preserving our mission and providing our students with the opportunity to truly grow as human beings. However, do not fear. Dr. Meitzen will be traveling to Croatia this summer, and we've made a trade. So I will be speaking again. You get a double dose of me at the next trustee meeting in Cal this summer. Well, I will provide more of an integration update, true to form, including the challenges faculty currently face, as well as the incredible progress we've made with the Office of the Provost and the Office of the Registrar in not only fixing problems that we encounter due to integration, but also in creating processes and implementing practices that allow us to serve students better, honestly, than any of our individual legacy institutions did in the past. In exchange for my trip to Cal this summer, Dr. Meitzen, and remember that he's a meteorologist, who has never been to Edinburgh, has agreed to speak at the January 2026 meeting, just in time to experience just a little bit of that lake effect. I mentioned this last June when I spoke, but it's important for me to reiterate that the solidarity amongst our ABSCUF chapters could not be stronger. And this benefits our Penn West community and our students in more ways than I could even begin to count here. Recently, I was asked by a PASHE system level administrator what ABSCUF does to lead in times of conflict and crisis, to which, I know this will shock you, I sharply responded that given the immense administrative turnover in the past few years at Penn West, ABSCUF has kept our finger on the pulse of our campuses. We have reassured students and our colleagues. ABSCUF has advocated to make sure our practices and processes are smoother for our colleagues and for our students. ABSCUF has worked with management to rebuild a new academic affairs structure, and ABSCUF, most importantly, did not and will not give up the ship. I say all this to let you know what a great day it is to be a part of an incredible union. I am grateful to Drs. Meitzen and Overly, and for their respective Cal and Clarion teams. The trustees applauded Dr. Overly at the last board meeting for her service to ABSCUF, as she will not be returning for she will not be running for Clarion ABSCUF president this spring. It's important that I express how hardworking and committed Dr. Overly has been to our students, first and foremost, but also to the process of becoming a healthy institution through difficult times. Her leadership is second to none, her wisdom deeply valued by her colleagues, and her ability to ground some of us, me, with a steady hand in times of chaos, will be deeply and desperately missed. The good news is that we have incredible, talented colleagues at Clarion, Abscuff, and Dr. Meitzen and I look forward to working with whomever their chapter elects as their next leader. So it's a good day to be in a union. It's a good day to be in league with organizations who stand up for workers, stand up for their rights, who stand up to defend the importance of higher education's promise, the promise of producing a creative and talented workforce, as well as an educated democratic citizenry. These are uncertain times for formal education systems in the United States, no doubt. However, what is certain is PASHE's mission to provide an opportunity for enlightenment and upward mobility for the middle and working class people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's that simple. It's that clear. It's not muddled. That's what we are doing at Penn West, providing the largest array of online programming in our system while maintaining 3 campuses in rural communities so in-person learning, cultural enrichment, and public engagement continue to have a space to thrive. It is important to say this publicly. Making sure that funding for higher education continues to flow is not a partisan issue. To politicize it is to precisely disenfranchise many of our students. In fact, 38% of Penn West students are Pell Grant eligible. Serving these students is our very mission. It is a mission of equity and opportunity. And these students are diverse. These students reside all over the political spectrum. They are diverse in their cultural and ethnic backgrounds, and they maintain complex personal and social identities. It is vital that we preserve our ability as an institution to be inclusive of all our students while making sure that our 3 campuses continue to be a vital resource for knowledge and community for everyone in the surrounding regions. Recently, Abscuff chapters across PASHE engaged in a day of action to push back and stand up for higher education. On Edinburgh's campus here, I couldn't be more proud. Nearly 40 students and 10 faculty marched in support of funding for higher ed and thus in protest of any actions that would threaten students' ability to complete their degrees. A very special thanks to my colleague who just spoke, Dr. Williams, and many of our colleagues who participated in these events on all of our campuses. It is important to note that no one told these students how to feel. No one removed their brains and supplanted their ideas with ones that are antithetical to their own interest. Quite to the contrary, in fact. These students were informed, educated, and bold enough to stand up for higher education as a public good and for their right as members of the Commonwealth to have the opportunity to better themselves through the academy. Dr. Williams did not lead these students. None of the faculty did. Rest assured, we have talented faculty facilitators. Dr. Williams is one of the best in our faculty ranks, capable of empowerment. But the students led. They grabbed the bull by the horns, mostly because they took your bullhorn, Lee. See what I did there? Seriously, they led themselves and they led us. They wanted this moment. They needed this moment. And it had a transformational impact on them. In 30 minutes, I watched people grow and I watched people find their voice. It is vital that we continue to keep these spaces open, these campuses open, to protect First Amendment rights, to keep our campuses safe places for engagement and civil disagreement. I would like to formally thank Assistant Chief of Police Krause and his team of officers who protected our students and our faculty and their right to demonstrate peacefully, though enthusiastically, quite enthusiastically, I will add, on our campus. But this is the point. This is what we must preserve. We cannot let the conversation be shut down. We cannot let fear paralyze our ability to manifest what is right. We will continue to provide the much needed space for students of all walks of life and of all ideological advantages to express themselves and engage each other with respect and with collective goals in mind. So, thank you to the Penn West administration for understanding the need for our campuses to continue to be vital arenas for social exchange. Our campuses are public spaces, and I would certainly hope that our leadership will continue to foster an institutional culture which encourages dialogue and public display, not one which shuts things down or pushes them to the margins.
Thank you most graciously, Dr. Sam Claster.
You're welcome, but I still have a couple pages. Perhaps, Dr. Anderson, the jury isn't fully in yet. But I believe we have a president and leader who understands the critical nature of our mission and our vital function as a public good in our communities. In fact, in your address to the Penn West community at your inauguration, you told a bit of your own personal / professional story that was quite inspiring. He told us of the struggle and the difficult choices he and his wife, Christy, had to make early in their partnership to balance family, careers, and education. Dr. Anderson's story is proof that education is not a linear path. And I am grateful we have a leader who genuinely cares about our students and deeply and personally gets our mission. In his brief time as president, Dr. Anderson has done a fantastic job of reassuring our communities of our place in them. He and Provost Fisher have worked tirelessly to reestablish important relationships with public officials, schools, and other community stakeholders. They have established new partnerships with cutting-edge organizations in manufacturing and business, as well as developed new pathways for our students into much-needed healthcare and related jobs. Again, I'm grateful that we have a leader who understands our mission of upward mobility. To be clear, though, colleges provide people with far more than a ladder into the middle or upper middle class. They help individuals expand their knowledge and experience, certainly, but it also helps them transform themselves as individuals. And it does this through relationships. Over the past 3 years, I've had many conversations with Trustee Pape about the importance of focusing on the student experience. She has reminded me, and it is nice to have your faith restored as a professor from time to time. She has reminded me the faculty are the people who have the greatest impact on students. We work with them day to day, and not just so they can learn, but so they can grow. That's the real work, being a life mentor. That's the hidden curriculum that we provide. Dr. Anderson, it's just dawned on me that this is the first time I've made public comments since you've been president. And to mark that occasion, and given your genuine and candid telling of your higher ed journey at your inauguration, I've decided that I'm going to let one of my skeletons out of the closet. By now, most of you in this room know that I'm an alum of Edinboro and very proud. But what you don't know is that I failed out of college my freshman year. And yeah, out of pure fear of my mother, I wrote the greatest letter in the history of letters to get back into university, to get another shot at my chance to develop into something more. And make no mistake, I had a little too much fun in my freshman year, there's no doubt. And after being readmitted, I figured out how to create the space I needed to excel at academics. And Trustee Pape is right. It was my professors who made it possible. They believed in me. They showed me that I had abilities and potential which I had no idea I possessed. They taught me my craft, my discipline, and challenged me to be a better student. There's no doubt that my transformation would not take place without them. However, while they are one of the major reasons why I was able to complete my degree and find my path, there's actually another group of people who were even more vital to my success. I have to apologize in advance when I'm done speaking today. I'm actually going to exit stage left. I'm going to walk out of this room. I'm going to pick up my family, and I'm going to drive to my hometown of Lock Haven, where I will be meeting 6 of the best human beings I've ever known, along with their families, for a weekend together. And these are the people I met in the borough 27 years ago. And we still have friendships, know each other's children, have been in all of each other's weddings, and we're growing old together. I met them when I was a freshman in Tower B. And I am, make no mistake, very grateful for my professors. And I'm grateful that I was able to find my vocational calling as an educator. But I am most grateful for the relationships that I built here. Those friendships transformed me and allowed me to complete my degree. And their contribution to this effort is simply immeasurable. That's what we're doing here. If you are sitting in this room today in front of me as trustees, you are here because you had some sort of transformative experience at Clarion, California, or Edinboro. This is not about trying to return to the past. It's not about wanting students to have the same experiences that we had. Our students are different. Heck, the world is different. And it's not about our campuses being or looking the same as they did. They're not going to. Regardless, though, of the form it takes for our students, it's about preserving and protecting this sacred space so that they may forge lifelong and life-changing relationships to better themselves and to become thriving members of whatever communities they join in the future. Thank you all for your time and the opportunity to speak today. I will see you all this summer, but right now, I got to go see some guys about a horse.
Thank you, Dr. Sam Claster. In attendance today are Penn West Local Faculty Senate co-chairs, Dr. Peter Kashinikoff from Penn West Edinburgh, Dr. Marcella McConnell from Penn West Clarion. And joining us virtually, I believe, is Dr. Robin Weaver from Penn West Cal. Is that accurate? Rachel believes so. I would like to invite Dr. Kashinikoff, who's already risen and come to the podium, to speak on behalf of the Penn West Faculty Senate this afternoon. Welcome, sir. We can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Right. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen of the Penn West Council of Trustees, esteemed colleagues, and honored guests. It is a privilege to address you today as a representative of the Faculty Senate. Central to our efforts is the Senate's commitment to shared governance, which has shaped the future of our academic community. Since our last meeting, the Faculty Senate has voted to approve the purpose of a university-wide Common Hour. Following this decision, our ad hoc Common Hour Committee worked closely with administration to identify the best day and time to serve our students. We greatly appreciate the administration's support in facilitating faculty's decisions through this committee's work, ensuring that the final decision reflects a broad consensus across Penn West. As we approach the end of our spring semester, the Faculty Senate remains busy with various committee activities. The Committee on Committees and Rules is in the process of filling departmental Senate seats for the upcoming term. And this week, we sent out a request to fill the 3 openings, one for each of our campuses, on the Executive Committee for the next academic year. Our Academic Standards Committee has drafted an initial proposal for an advising day and is currently gathering faculty input through surveys to assess interest in implementing this initiative for the upcoming semester. Improving and advancing advising remains a top priority. The Budget Committee has worked alongside the administration to facilitate a discussion on the university's budget, focusing on key components. Meanwhile, the Assessment Committee has reviewed 68 program assessment reports to ensure we maintain rigorous academic standards. The Faculty Affairs Committee recently sought nominations for the first annual Penn West 2025 Empowering Excellence Award, which will recognize faculty members who demonstrate exceptional commitment to empowering students from historically marginalized groups. Additionally, this committee is working on creating a celebration to honor our retired faculty members across our 3 campuses. The General Education Committee has expanded its membership to include discipline-specific faculty, enhancing its work on assessing the general education program. The Institutional Resources and Sustainability Committee has met with Dr. Fisher to discuss the needs and concerns of all 3 campuses, including issues like computer lab closures, empty buildings, distance education rooms for students, and the challenges of teaching and proctoring online courses. The committee has also invited leaders from technology and facilities to their meetings to foster better communication between faculty and staff. The Student Affairs Committee is focused on improving communication and has invited Susan Fensky to the Faculty Senate to discuss the mission moving forward. The committee will also be sharing details about the upcoming spring campus concert. On the April 4th will be Clarion, April 11th is the Edinburgh, and on April 24th, California will hold their concert. The Faculty Senate is providing monthly campus forums to foster open communication and reduce isolation. Over the next month, each of the campuses will be addressing critical mental health issues and concerns. Our ongoing discussions with Middle States Commission have been critical in ensuring that our integration initiatives align with the highest standards of academic excellence and institutional integrity. Through meaningful shared governance and transparency, we are making significant progress toward advancing the accreditation goals that will sustain and elevate our Penn West institution. At this time, I would also like to acknowledge the exceptional contributions of our Senate committees, chairs, and members for their dedication to academic excellence and inconceivably. I have a very technical engineering background. Equitable equity plays a vital role in ensuring that every student has the opportunity to succeed and thrive at Penn West, whether through innovating teaching practices, mentorship, or advocacy. These individuals exemplify the values that define our institution. As we move forward, the Faculty Senate, in collaboration with our ASCUF colleagues, is firmly committed to the growth and success of Penn West and those who will call our three campuses home. On behalf of my esteemed Faculty Senate co-chairs, thank you very much. I would also like to recognize Dr. Marcy McConnell. She is stepping off of Senate out of her normal rotation, so she won't be joining us for the summer meeting, and she was willing to step in for Jackie Canals, who took on the additional responsibility of being dean on the Clarion campus. So thank you very much, Marcy. And that concludes my report.
Peter, thank you for everything you reported on behalf of Faculty Senate and all the many things that you're doing on behalf of our students and our university. Thank you. We will now hear from our Penn West student trustees. We believe that some of the most important voices, as the faculty has indicated, are from student trustees. And to lead off, Tyreek, I would invite you to begin reports for the student trustees, followed by Tim and then Sonia.
Thank you, JD. So I want to start off by just talking a little bit about what has happened since midterms and what's going on for the rest of the semester. Students on the California campus are preparing for a busy and fun finish to this semester, as there are a multitude of student-run events coming up, including the big event, which is this Saturday, and it's a day of community service in the surrounding communities around California, and is hosted by Student Government Association. This Saturday, March 29th, there will be more than 300 student volunteers that are signed up for the big event, more than 30 clubs and organizations, and more than 30 sites in the California Borough, Brownsville, and Cole Center areas. We are very excited for this and can't wait to share all of the memories and experiences made from this. Also starting this weekend is Student Appreciation Week, which is also hosted by Student Government Association. This will be starting tomorrow, March 28th, and we'll be going through the end of Parent Family Weekend, which is next weekend, and ends on April 6th. This is the biggest Student Appreciation Week that we have ever done, and it will include many events from several clubs and organizations, including events from Student Activities Board, multiple bingos, one hosted by Rainbow Alliance, which they're doing drag bingo, several giveaways as well, and then many other sponsored events by clubs and organizations on campus. We're also trying to showcase some of our athletics, as there are many softball and baseball games happening during this time, so we want to push students to those as well. SAB will be holding their annual spring concert, who will be Rich the Kid, on Thursday, April 24th, and we're very excited for that. The California Student Affairs Awards will be happening as well on Monday, April 21st at 5 p.m. This event showcases the clubs and organizations on campus, as well as the individuals in these organizations. We're ready for that, and there are many other events happening for the rest of the semester. There's just, not enough time to show them all, but we're doing a lot on campus to make sure people are getting out, and I think it being spring definitely has gotten people to come out more. While we're looking at the sports, The Vulcans baseball team has a current record of 15-3, with the team outscoring opponents this season 164 to 90 home runs. Also, in some exciting news, last week the university announced that we are adding a women's flag football team to the California campus sports lineup, with competition set to begin in 2025 and 2026. We're very excited for that as well. Overall, the morale at Cal currently is great, and we are just, as I said, we're in the spring, so people are starting to come out their rooms again. It's no longer, the winter cold. It's been a rough winter, so we're excited to see how this semester goes, have some more outside events, and see people studying and hanging out outside. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Tyreek. Trustee Timothy?
Hello, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to serve on the Council of Trustees for Penn West University. I have thoroughly enjoyed my past 3 months serving as a student trustee for Penn West Clarion. I have met a lot of great leaders and have experienced the amount of planning that is involved in making our campuses an enjoyable and an appealing place for students. This spring semester has been packed with a lot of events that has engaged our students in many ways through clubs and organizations on campus. Some include the Frederick Douglass Birthday Bash, multiple bingos hosted by our University Activities Board or our Student Government Association. Also, the lecture with R.L. Stein that happened day before yesterday was a great success among his fans in our Western Pennsylvania and more. He held 2 lectures, one with the high schoolers at 1 p.m., which had about 1,100 students there, and it was a great event. And then we had another one open for public and community members at 6 p.m. Other than that, we have like weekly events hosted by our University Activity Board, which includes laser tag, building Legos, and stuff like that to get students involved and know each other and have that community. Besides this, with the weather being warming up for spring, it's been wonderful to see all the people out. And also, we just hosted a World Down Syndrome Day awareness walk/run this past weekend, and that involved a lot of faculty, students, and community as well to get together. And then speaking of sports, our Golden Eagles have been relentless and has brought a lot of pride to Penn West Clarion. Notably, our men's swim team has placed 3rd, and our women's swim team has placed 4th in the PSAC championship this year. And also multiple new school records have been broken and made. And 2 students in the swim team has qualified for nationals as well. The women divers accounted for about a total of 10 All-American honors at the NCAA 2025 championships, and with top 2 finishes and national championships as well. Student life at Clarion is at a very good high at the moment, and students are definitely enjoying it. The meal options with the change to AVI has become better than ever, and it's more consistent across campus. Students appreciate the addition of an espresso machine at the Barista Cafe, obviously, as we like our caffeine. As always, students are also enjoying and spending more time at the rec center, participating in activities and hobbies that they're interested in. And also, we have a very active intramural community within Clarion that does men's and women's rugby. And also, we have a women intramural volleyball team, and they're very active on campus as well. And with the streets warming up because of spring, it's always a pleasure to see all my favorite runners and walkers outside, so it's always nice. And also, as we finish up this semester, the students are lined up with a number of events, which includes the return of Campus Fest this year, which we'll be presenting Kyle on the 4th of April at 7 p.m. And we also have planned a whole week of events right before finals, which is commonly known as the Chillin' and Grillin' Weekend, to find balance among the chaos right before finals. And to prepare for the next semester, students are currently meeting with all their advisors as we open registration on the 31st of March, just to make sure that they're on the right path for their career. Again, I just want to thank all of the people that are present in this room, and all the efforts has been put in to make this semester and just education in general as enjoyable as possible for us. Thank you.
Thank you for that comprehensive report, Timothy. I'm proud of you today that you asked openly Trustee Donna Oberlander, could she please come someday to speak to student government? And she warmly received that request. So thank you for jumping out there. I have to ask, do you as students attend functions that are sports related? Tyreek is nodding yes.
Yes.
I could probably do more.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
definitely say the same too. I'm asking all my athlete friends to be like, when's the next home game that I could show up and support you guys, that's my initiative that I'm doing on that.
Thank you. Next up, Sonia.
All right, so here are just some things, highlights that have happened since the last meeting. In February, Campus Life hosted the 4th Annual Club and Organization Awards ceremony. This event aims to recognize students and celebrate the work and dedication of both individual students and student organizations. This year, we had a record number of nominations, more than double of last year. So we were able to have 50 unique individuals and 20 unique clubs recognized as at this event for nominees. And as this event continues to grow, Campus Life is excited to celebrate more and more student accomplishments. AVI brought back late night, a beloved student dining option where students are able to get like specific fried food options late at night at the Pogue Student Center. And on the first night of late night, the kitchen served nearly 300 students within 2 hours. And then speaking of sports, I think a few of them are here right now, but the Edinburgh women's basketball team played phenomenally this season, finishing with a 25-7 record where they made it all the way to the semifinals in our region where they unfortunately fell to IUP. But the Macomb Fieldhouse was able to host the regionals, and the energy in the Fieldhouse from students was just electric while they were playing. Looking to the future, the Student Government Association is currently planning their Student Appreciation Week. This is a week of fun and excitement for students, and it gives them fun events that really only happen during that week, such as a wing-off, karaoke nights, different things like that. There will be a combined choir concert between Cal Clarion and Edinburgh in April. The concert itself will take place in Clarion, and all 3 of the campus choirs will join together for this concert. And then lastly, so for student opinions, students are excited about the return of Common Hour next year, as it will allow them campus-wide time where no students are in class, so they're able to hold meetings or meet with professors for office hours. And then lastly, some students have expressed concerns over the current political world and the aim to close the Department of Ed. They are nervous about their Pell Grants, their future careers, and their ability to access public education, also known as the whole reason that they are here. They just want to be assured that it will be okay, and they're just feeling very uncertain in this time. But overall, morale at Edinburgh is high as students look forward to the end of the semester, warmer weather, and summer plans.
Thank you, Trustee Sonia. Those were 3 uplifting student trustee reports. I'd now like to ask Trustee Mark Bellini to share an update from PAC, the Pennsylvania Association for Council of Trustees. General.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have 3 items today to report to you. As you know, the PAC has not assessed dues for the last several years, and we're looking forward to that, continuing that momentum. As a result, we reevaluated our money that we have on hand and how to invest it. And we opened up a 9-month CD in December. I was going to report this in January, but as you know, I wasn't there. Getting us much higher interest than we were in a regular savings account. The goal is to, as long as we can, not assess dues to the universities. The next thing that I have is on the 2nd of April is the quarterly session with the acting chancellor for a PASHE update. It's at 11 o'clock. It's on Zoom. If you have not received an invitation, please let me know, and I'll make sure that you get one. The last thing that I have is normally we have a fall and a spring conference. This year, it's coming on April, and there's been no announcement of a spring conference. That's because we're deferring it until the summer Board of Governors timeframe, and we'll have a hybrid conference of an afternoon or a morning, depending on how the timing goes with the other things that are going on at PASHE headquarters, where you could either come on Zoom or be in person for several hours, but there will not be a large conference. The reason we're doing that is we had a survey that I mentioned earlier. All of you or you should have received a digital survey in December. And the results were as we thought they'd come out. We had about 25% of the members that were asked to participate in the survey participated in the survey. Most of the members felt that they were well informed with what's going on in PACT and in PASHE. And there was a common theme that maybe spending a 2-day conference could not be fit into their schedules, that a Zoom conference was adequate, although there was some that did express the desire to have a conference. So we're going to have a hybrid one this summer in lieu of in April, which we normally have it. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that comprehensive report. We're now going to move to the consent agenda, and this is an action item, trustees. The consent agenda items will be considered in one motion unless a member wishes to have an item removed for individual discussion. Does anyone wish to discuss the consent agenda? I'm going to move on. With the consent agenda consists of the minutes of the regular meeting of January 23rd, 2025. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? I will need a motion and a second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries.
Chair Dunbar, this is Molly Passmore. Can you
Next
hear
up,
me?
I'd like to invite Vice President Jim Geiger, University Advancement and Clarion Campus Administrator, to introduce the members of Edinburgh Women's Basketball Team.
It is my pleasure to welcome head coach Callie Wheeler, assistant coach Maggie Moore, and some of the players from this year's Edinburgh women's basketball team. They're going to share a little bit about their season and a little bit about themselves. But before they do that, one of the benefits of integration is learning some of the great legendary athletes that we've had on these campuses. And Coach Wheeler is one of those. As a senior, she was honorable mention All-American and was the PSAC West Athlete of the Year. She was a 2-time All-PSAC West selection, earning first-team honors as a senior and second-team as a junior. She appeared in 107 games and set school records for career assists with 682, a figure which ranks second all-time in the PSAC. She also finished with 283 steals, which stands fourth all-time at Edinburgh and 26th in the conference. She set the school record for assists in a season with 249 as a senior, which is also second all-time in the PSAC. She had 225 assists as a junior, ranking third at Edinburgh and eighth in the PSAC. She holds the Edinburgh single-game record for assists with 16, and she had multiple triple-doubles, I think before triple-doubles were cool, right? So with that, I'd like to welcome Coach Wheeler to introduce her players and talk a little bit about their wonderful season.
Thank you all so much. I'm sure you're surprised because I'm only 5'3", and as you can see, to be a basketball player, that just means I had to use my speed and quickness. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here today and speak about my team's success. It has been an outstanding season. It has been a difficult season. There's been so many things that they have persevered from. Injuries, teammates quitting, illnesses, winter weather advisories, late arrivals to games, and they have persevered and adjusted and adapted so much. This past season, before I begin, I want to introduce everybody, and then I'll discuss the season. My assistant coach, former player of mine, Maggie Moore, thrilled that she's here and that she's able to share her experience that she had. She was on our Elite Eight team in 2014. So she has been able to share that experience with our current athletes. I especially want to thank Dr. Anderson because she would not be standing here today if it wasn't for him in approving her position and giving her that opportunity. So I'm really, really grateful, as I expressed before. With us is Ashton Boggs, Ava Haddad, Morgan Gentile, and Haley Sims. It has been an incredible season. We finished, like Sonia said, 25-7. They were picked fourth preseason to finish in the conference, and they finished first in the PSAC West, which was one of the most competitive seasons that I've ever been a part of as a head coach. They were fortunate enough to compete on their home floor in the conference championship game. We did not win, but we did finish second, which is an incredible accomplishment. We did secure the first seed in the Atlantic Regional, which gave us the opportunity to host the NCAA Regional Tournament, which in my 18 years here at Edinboro was the first time in a long time we had that opportunity. And like Sonia said, the student body came out to support us in an incredible way. It was the most amount of students I've ever seen at an Edinboro game, which, for me is really exciting to see how these young women have impacted the university. We did lose to IUP, but we finished in the top 32, which was the second round. And along with team success, we had a lot of individual success as well. Morgan Gentile was the PSAC West Player of the Year. She was also first team PSAC West All Conference. She was recognized by the Women's Basketball College Association as an All-American. She finished on the second team all region, and she also scored 1,000 points this year in only 3 years as a Fighting Scot, which is an incredible accomplishment. Haley Sims rounded out a fantastic career. She was PSAC All Conference second team. She scored over 1,500 points, which ranks 6th all time as a Fighting Scot. She is only one of 5 players in Edinboro history to score 1,500 points and record 500 rebounds, which is a very rare feat. So it's really remarkable what she accomplished. Our freshman, Rachel Manfredo, was named PSAC West Freshman of the Year, and Ashton Boggs and Natalie Angeletti were CSC All Academic, All District. Our team GPA in the fall was one of the highest I've ever been a part of. They were 3.5 overall, so I'm really excited to see what they do in the spring. But with all those transactional awards, for me, the most impressive is the transformation. They don't get awards for that, but how these young women have transformed while they have been here at Penn West is just incredible. And like Dr. Kloster said, Edinboro is about the people, and these women have become such strong leaders and outstanding ambassadors for Penn West University. And I am certain that they are going to go off into the world and continue to impact in such a successful way. Now I'd like to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ashton Boggs. I am a graduate student here at Penn West Edinboro. I just finished my last year of eligibility playing basketball, and I plan on staying here at Penn West Edinboro, and I'm going to get my master's to be a speech language pathologist starting in the fall of 2025.
Hi, I'm Ava Haddad. I'm currently a junior here at Edinboro. I'm studying business marketing, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. In the future, I look to pursue a career in sports management or marketing, and look for jobs and opportunities in the city of Cleveland. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Morgan Gentile. I'm from Elmira, New York. I am a senior. I'm about to be graduating in May with a business marketing degree, and I plan to go down to Miami and
see what opportunities that brings me down there.
Hello, everybody. My name is Haley Sims. I'm from Cleveland Heights, Ohio. I graduated with my undergrad in strategic communications, and I plan on going back home to pursue my master's degree and continue working in the sports information field back at home.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maggie Moore. As Coach said, I played here. I graduated in 2017. I got my undergrad in biology, which I took a little slight right turn in my career path and ended up here, but yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for creating such an incredible space for these young people to grow and learn. And we're very grateful for all the opportunities that you guys have provided for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Wheeler and players. Chair Dunbar, thank you.
Let the minutes show that the trustees had a standing ovation for the athletes. Thank you, students. Thanks for sharing with us today. Trustees, we're going to backtrack because as it turns out, we need to have a roll call vote for 2 items. So each trustee can see what's on the screen, but I'll repeat it. Action item that the Council of Trustees approve the resolution approving the order of succession. So then there will be a roll call vote to that. I need a motion and a second. So I know it's repeating what we did.
So moved.
Thank you. Rachel will call the roll now. Thank you, students.
Trustee Bellini?
Yes.
Trustee Dunbar? Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee John?
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy? Trustee Maggi? Trustee Maggi? Bit of a delay, but nothing. Trustee Nikolai?
Yes.
Trustee Oberlander? Trustee Pape? Trustee Pickett?
Yes.
Trustee Weaver? Trustee Whitson?
Yes.
Trustee Yost?
Yes.
Thank you. We also have to redo the consent agenda, please.
So moved. Nikolai.
Second, Oberlander.
It's important that we state it all completely. The action item, the Council of Trustees approve the consent agenda. There's been a first and second. If you mind to make that again so that it's reflected in the minutes.
So moved. Nikolai.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Bellini?
Yes.
Trustee Dunbar?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee John?
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy? Trustee Maggi? All right, I was trying again. Trustee Nikolai?
Yes.
Trustee Oberlander?
Yes.
Trustee Pape? Trustee Pickett?
Yes.
Trustee Weaver? Trustee Whitson?
Yes.
And Trustee Yost?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll get you back to it.
We'll return to regularly scheduled programming by welcoming Communications and Marketing Update, Vice President Kelly Rapinski. Welcome, Kelly. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, trustees. Next slide, please. The first slide I wanted to share today is just a high-level snapshot of the projects that the Creative Services team has been involved with from January and February of this year. You can see that just in 2 months, there's a lot of projects that are completed under the leadership of Bill Berger, who's actually housed here at the Edinburgh campus. You'll note here that we also have 88 total licensed merchandise submissions. We receive royalties when third-party vendors use our logo for athletics or for Penn West. So those are the total that were processed just in the past 2 months. That is a 12% royalty fee that we receive. And for the fiscal year current, we have received about $28,000 so far in revenue. Next slide, please. I just wanted to highlight some of the projects that they've been working on over the past 2 months, Bill and his team. So you can see here that they designed materials for the Penn West Community Health Initiative, the Alumni Awards, branded program sheets for academic affairs. We're very excited about this project. Now each program will have access to branded program sheets that'll be available through our SharePoint and online for prospective student days and when we have open houses and events with SEM. You'll see that they also branded the new AI Center that is here at the Edinburgh campus. That's a wrapped wall that's there, so we're very excited. We're going to have a forum and an official opening later this month, so very excited about that. And then the buzzwords, that was another project that they worked on. Next slide, please. I wanted to talk a little bit about the website. As you know, we launched a new website earlier this year. We continue to see really good traffic from prospective students on that page, but we also continue to make some tweaks to the design and make it as user-friendly as possible. 3 pages that we've been really focused on to improve the user experience is our tuition and fees page. We've consolidated 8 pages into a single page that now has drop-down arrows, and this is a much more user-friendly format that allows prospective and current students to see the list of tuition and fees. For commencement, we worked with Susan Fensky and her team, and while it's not in the screen capture, if you go to the bottom of the page, you can see the live feed from the previous commencement ceremony, and we'll have the live feed on there as well for the ceremonies this semester. And finally, for student accounts, many of our students use My Penn West, and their experience will not be changed due to what we took the 8 pages and consolidated those, but they're now housed on the pennwest.edu site. So again, just using AI tools to make the content a little more condensed, easier to navigate and to find information through SEO. Next slide. We're very, very excited about the People of Penn West initiative that we've launched over the past month. This is a really interesting project because it's a digital storytelling strategy that leverages AI and shows through our AI and what we're seeing in the AI Center that we've opened, how you can take original content, but use AI tools to distribute that across multiple channels. So as we know, Dr. Anderson has his Power of Penn West podcast, and they take the transcript from that particular podcast, add the images of the guests, and all the content that you see on the screen is created through AI. So our creative services and our marketing team created a tool in AI that allows us to push multiple content to different places on the web, on social media, through news stories, all through the transcript of the podcast. Next slide. University storytelling, I just wanted to highlight that Kristen Brockett is here today. She was taking some photos for us. Kristen is our Executive Director of University Storytelling, and this is just a sample of some of the stories that her team pushes out on the Penn West e-news and on our website and social. This is just over the last couple months. Next slide. If you've been on our social media recently, you might have seen a new look. We have branded all of our social medias. We're using much more strategic content, and we're using a lot of user-generated content. And what that means is we're leveraging our students to tell the Penn West story. They're our best ambassadors. They have the best experiences to tell about what it's like to be a Penn West student. And this here is a video of a student who's in one of our programs. Typically, we do not have a lot of luck when we hit play and we're on Zoom, so we're not going to hit play. But if you go on our social media, you'll see the reels on Instagram, and these are all created by current or prospective students. So very excited about that. Next slide. Oh, yeah, it started to play. And then the executive communications and media relations, Wendy Mackel is also here today. She's our executive director for executive communications and our PR. And this is just a small sample of where we've been in the news. So, you know, we really look to promote Penn West not only tell our story, but our partnerships through the media. And these are just a sampling of some of the instances that we've had in the news. You can see Dr. Anderson was on WPXI. We did a partnership signing with Dr. Camille Dempsey. She's been providing insight and expertise on articles about AI and education. The Power of Penn West continues to see a lot of growth in listenership. We had the groundbreaking at the California campus, and just a highlight of some of our athletics notices in the Explore Clarion. So that's just a highlight of the division over the last couple months, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Trustees, do you have any questions or comments that you would like to make about the media relations that you've seen?
And I think I'd just like to thank Tyreek. Tyreek and some of the other student leaders have been part of a social media advisory committee that we put together, and they've been working with Kristen and her team to constructive criticism on our reels and our approach to some of our social media posts. And it's always good to have the student perspective. So that's been really helpful as we've been creating new content for our social media channels.
And I want to thank you, VP Kelly, and the president for being immediately responsive when a student registered a concern. I mean, immediately. You made an appointment with them the very next day.
Thank you.
I very much appreciate that and very much appreciate the follow-up by the president.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair Dunbar, one
Please,
quick thing.
please go ahead.
Have you seen an increase in the numbers when you're looking at the metrics?
Again, well, I think there's two pieces to it. In terms of prospective students, Google ads and just organic traffic is the #1 driver to our website. So we've seen 3-digit increases in that. And so I'll have a quarterly update on that for the next meeting. And then for our social media, again, especially with the increase in Reels, we're seeing double-digit increases in followers and also engagement on social media. Great.
Thanks for your report.
Thank
Kelly.
you.
At this time, we'll hear from the Academic Affairs Committee. The Academic Affairs Report can be found on page 26 in your board packet if you care to look for it. Committee Co-Chair, Trustee Jones, the floor is yours to start out this report.
Thank you, JD. The Academic Affairs Committee last met on March 7th of 2025 and discussed, among other items, the Penn West Center for Artificial Intelligence and Emerging Technologies and efforts underway to improve student outcomes, particularly in the first year. For more details, I will now turn it over to Interim Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, JD Fisher, for the Academic Affairs full report.
Thank you, Trustee Jones, and good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here with you. The Penn West Center for Artificial Intelligence and Emerging Technologies, led by inaugural director, Dr. Camille Dempsey, has been very active in getting ready for the center's official launch on Thursday, April 17th. Dr. Dempsey has met one-on-one with over 80 faculty and staff at Penn West, and they've brainstormed about the center and its mission and vision. They have created over a dozen communities of practice as well as action groups focused on grants and AI research. The center's planning to conduct surveys of students, faculty, and staff, their experiences with AI and what they'd like to see in terms of training and professional development. Dr. Dempsey has also recruited over 30 undergraduate student tech ambassadors to take advantage of the center and facilitate its work, and they've been meeting every other week. She's created a series of Act 48 professional development trainings for K-12 educators. Dr. Dempsey is also developing a 5-module non-credit-bearing AI training course that anyone can take for upskilling or general interest. And faculty from a number of academic departments are developing credit-bearing courses and an AI certificate for Penn West students. And those include general education courses like AI for Everyone that will be offered by the faculty in the Department of Computing and Engineering Technology. And they're now running a newsletter and also a book club. So they are very busy in the run-up to the official launch of the center. The physical home of the center will be on the first floor of the Baron Forness Library on the Edinburgh campus. I encourage you to go into the library and see that on the first floor. And the official opening of event of the center will be on Thursday, April 17th at 2 p.m. in the Baron Forness Library, where we will host a panel featuring Dr. Dempsey, experts in AI and academia and industry, and also a student panelist. And what's also exciting is that the center is starting to draw interest from experts in AI from outside the university, and we are working on a number of potential projects and partnerships, and when those are further along, I'm going to be excited to share those with you. The center is designed to draw from and extend the talents of faculty and staff across the university. It's built to operate as a community. But I do want to recognize the talent, vision, and energy of Dr. Dempsey. Camille is an associate professor of educational technology at the Edinburgh campus and is the program coordinator for our educational technology and online teaching master's degree. She is a Google Women Ambassador, a Google AI Mastermind for Women, a Google Educator Group. She's very popular with Google. An International Society for Technology and Education community leader, and a Pennsylvania Keystone Technology integrator. She's also been a faculty research fellow in artificial intelligence through ISTE and an EdSafe AI Alliance Catalyst fellow. Camille is here today, and I asked her to come so that we could recognize her great work on behalf of the university. Camille, stand up. Thank you so much, Camille. Appreciate your great work. And I also want to thank our colleague. Thank you so much, Camille. Really appreciate you. Want to say a few words?
There's never been a more important time to be thinking about the technologies of our time. And while some people are thinking about, the Terminator's coming, I think it's really important that we help prepare our students and our community and faculty and staff for not only what the challenges are, which are really important, but also the advantages. And it's not going away. And we have to find a way to leverage this. So, and I'm doing a keynote. I'll just do a quick plug. Gannon University tomorrow at, I think it's 9 o'clock in the morning. There's a humanities conference, and I'll be doing the keynote for that conference. So if anybody is available because it's close by and you're in the area, just let me know. I'll stick around and I can help you get registered. So I'll be sharing where we're going with AI, including future of agents, AI agents in our work, in all of our work, and many of the other things that are happening. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be working with everyone. I feel like you're right. Like the community has come out. It's been difficult just trying to keep up with everything, but our faculty and staff, we have a lot of expertise. And I think having the center really be elevated, which is really the administration who have helped to create this, have brought them to the forefront. And so you're going to hear a lot of really great things from our faculty and staff and students who are willing to do professional development. I think that's really sort of changing the game, right? Getting the students involved and presenting things to faculty as well. So it's going to be a really interesting collaborative process. And we have school districts and or businesses and organizations that are approaching us. And so it's been real interesting sifting through, like, what are the places that we need to be mindful of, with working with, and who are the organizations that are more self-serving, right? So who is it that we really align with as far as our mission and vision and making things happen? So, and I will say, the last thing I'll say is that, and I wasn't really prepared to say anything, but I just on the fly, I've talked to faculty and staff who are like, we just had a book club yesterday, and there's like over 30 people involved in that. And we're looking at the book, Teaching AI. And they're asking really great questions, and we're having great conversations about the content. And I think, like, our culture reflects this. There are people that are just in avoidance mode. I'm just going to wait until this affects me. And the reality is, the minute that we open our phone, we're all using AI, right? And so what I'm finding is, as organizations are coming to us and asking questions or asking to be included with news, they expect all of us to have prepared these students with AI. And so we have this task, we have this Herculean task to help prepare not only our students, but the faculty and staff around what they need. And it really means rethinking pedagogy, the way we assess things, the assignments that we give. And that's hard. Change is hard. So Yeah, so say a prayer for us. We're doing the best we can. We've got some really good people involved, and our administrators have been wonderful support. So, and we are on a path. I feel like we've started sort of with grassroots. We need to start building some, momentum with funding. If we're going to do this and we're leading this thing, we're going to need funding. We're going to need funding and licenses that protect privacy of our users. There are a lot of other things that we're going to need to help us to continue to lead. And I can tell you we're leading because people from the state are coming after us. They're hearing about this thing and they're asking a lot of questions. And so we want to continue to build that momentum. And so we appreciate the support, and thanks to everyone who has been involved in supporting us, including Jim, and especially Jim and John. So thank you.
Thanks, Camille. I also want to thank our colleague Jill Stein, who is an administrative assistant in the Office of the Provost at the California campus. Jill wears many hats, but has been instrumental in working with Dr. Dempsey over the past several months to facilitate the logistics of the center and its launch. So thank you, Jill, for what you do for the center in Penn West. We are continuing our work to implement and enhance data-informed and recognize best practices in student retention and success. And that includes continuing to focus on and expand what we call priority practices, what we know to have the greatest impact on student outcomes. And we've talked about some of these things before, and including first-year seminars with embedded peer tutors. And I know we have a couple of student trustees who've worked as embedded peer tutors, very effective. Directed self-placement of incoming students into composition courses, peer tutoring, supplemental instruction in gateway courses, success coaching, career coaching, and proactive outreach and support of our library faculty and staff, and the improvement on the construction of schedules for incoming students and how they move through the first year. And this is the work of many hands, but I'll just note the leadership of Dr. Jill Loop, who's the executive director of the Student Success Center, Dr. Leah Chambers, who's a professor of English and faculty director of first-year academic success, Tony McMullen, who's the director of university libraries, Dr. Josh Domitrovich, who is the interim AVP for Student Success, and Rhonda Gifford, who's the interim director of the Career Center. We're also continuing to research and respond to the needs of specific populations, including adult students, undeclared students, in other words, students who come in without a major, fully online students, and active duty military and veteran students. And among other actions taken lately, we have a new Penn West Adult Student Services Office that's led by Dr. Philomena Gill, who's executive director of non-traditional student support. We also recently convened a special working group led by Josh Domitrovich and including council trustee member Mark Bellini to consider the recruitment, effective recruitment, and then support of active duty military and veteran students to supplement our current work. And we're going to begin implementing the recommendations of the working group very soon. I'm going to conclude my report by highlighting some examples of work that faculty members are doing with their students in this past quarter. In my written report are several examples of faculty members helping students with their research, traveling with students to conferences and professional gatherings, and recognizing and celebrating their capstone projects. We've already talked about Dr. Dempsey and her incredible work with the Center for AI and Emerging Technologies, and how the center exists not just to serve students through classes and faculty professional development, but also serve students through having them participate directly in the work of the center. I also want to spend a minute to talk about two additional faculty members on the Edinburgh campus. Doctors Mike Engdahl and Sean Pfeiffer, who are both professors in the Department of Business, Economics, and Communication. Mike Engdahl has been a faculty member at Penn West Edinburgh since 2003. Mike is a certified financial planner and an attorney who specializes in working with students to attain fulfilling careers in financial planning. Mike was an early and enthusiastic adopter of multiple modes of teaching, and in doing so, he has offered flexible access to students, helped them prepare for the 21st century world of work, and most importantly, taught students well and encouraged and mentored them effectively. Sean Pfeiffer has been a faculty member at Penn West Edinburgh since 2012 and is an expert in finance and personal financial planning, and is also a certified financial planner. He has been recognized during his time at Penn West for his effectiveness as a teacher and his strong scholarly record. I know at least once he's won an award for being, or recognized for being Scholar of the Year. I also note that no matter how busy he is or what time of the semester it is, he is physically present on this campus. Regardless of whether he is teaching in person or online or some combination from semester to semester, it is almost impossible for me to walk through my old building, Hendricks Hall, at any time of the day during the week and not encounter Sean in his office or in the halls. And if I don't see him there when I'm going to get coffee at Lakeside Bagel, I see him there as well. So I see Sean on a regular basis. His presence is valuable. His presence is valuable. He's committed. Both Mike and Sean make a regular practice of traveling with their students to conferences and competitions, providing them many opportunities for experiential learning. For example, in February, Sean led 6 Penn West business students on a financial analyst trip. Visits included meeting with a host of professionals for sessions at Fifth Third Wealth Advisors, Federated Hermes, First Commonwealth Bank, and Schneider Downs. Students also attended the CFA Society of Pittsburgh's Emerging Leaders Group. And Mike regularly coaches teams of Penn West students in the National Financial Planning Challenge competition, where students compete to prepare a comprehensive financial plan for a hypothetical client. Our team last semester was one of the top 8 schools in the competition, alongside schools such as Ohio State University, the University of Arizona, and Texas A&M. And this is a coincidentally basketball-themed COT meeting. In addition to all this good work, they are also basketball coaches. Mike and Sean. Coming out of the pandemic, Mike founded and Mike and Sean have been coaching the Edinboro women's club basketball team. In 2024, the team claimed the National Club Basketball Association Women's Division North Atlantic West Conference title. And this year, they're building on that success with a conference record of 10-2. Fighting Scots are currently in 2nd place in the conference and are ranked 8th in the nation in the Titan Athletics NCBBA Women's National Collegiate Club rankings. So far as I can tell, this has nothing to do with financial planning, but it has everything to do with giving our students a fun, memorable, collaborative, and fulfilling experience, and that's what we do here at Penn West. So thank you, Sean and Mike. Sean, I think you're here today. All right, Sean, can you stand up? Let's give you a round of applause. Thanks, Sean. And I've highlighted the great work of Camille, Mike, and Sean, but it's important to note that as extraordinary and distinct as their work is, it is representative of the extraordinary and distinct work of all of our faculty at Penn West, California, Clarion, Edinboro, online, undergraduate, and graduate. They stack up against any group of faculty in the country, and they are the heart of how we fulfill our mission to our students and the Commonwealth. And that concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions for VP JD? I'd like to compliment you on how you accorded so much attention to all of the staff as you did today in your report. Thank you.
Thanks so
We
much.
appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
Next, we'll receive an enrollment update. The Strategic Enrollment Management Report can be found on page 32 in your board packet. Committee Co-Chair Trustee Jones, I'll turn that over to you.
All right, just a brief introduction that the Strategic Enrollment Management Committee met last on March 7th. We discussed upcoming admitted student days and events, ongoing high school and community college outreach efforts, and dual enrollment updates for the fall semester. I'll now turn this over to AVP Dollins for the Strategic Enrollment Report details.
Trustee Jones, appreciate it. So as Trustee Jones mentioned, we have been working diligently on a number of yield and outreach activities. We also have been we've welcomed in a consultant. Her name is Jennifer Stenander, and she used to be a vice president for enrollment management at Middle Georgia State University and the University of West Georgia, and had worked closely alongside President Anderson during his time there. So we really have appreciated her support and her expertise and guidance on a number of different outreach activities that we're doing as we're pushing towards the May 1st deposit deadline and also throughout the summer. But we did have a very successful round of admitted student days just this past weekend. We welcomed more than 250 students across all 3 campuses and nearly 600 total guests. So it was a very productive day. And since that admitted student day, we've seen 61 new deposits that have come in from that admitted student day and the various activities. So that's a really encouraging number. That's actually significantly up compared to the same equivalent time last year, where we only had 36 deposits during that same 5-day stretch. So the team is very excited about that momentum as we move forward. We do also have April 5th admitted student days. So again, across all three campuses, we'll be welcoming students that have been admitted and some that have deposited. And we also are trying out a new pilot program, a April 12th new student orientation day that is going to be at the California campus. And so we're going to really go out early with NSO activities and get them connected to our faculty, staff, and also our success coaches and our student affairs colleagues to get those students even more excited and ready to go for the fall semester. So, you know, based off of this experience, we're going to then potentially look at some additional earlier NSO programs next year. We also are adding 2 additional new student orientation programs on each of the 3 campuses in the month of May. So this is in addition to the programs we do in June and July. So we're really excited to get those kicked off here shortly. We also have added a number of initiatives, including instant decision days and next step days at our local area high schools across all 3 areas that our campuses are based out of. So the team is working to add even more, but just in the last week, we've added 8 instant decision days and next steps days from Erie County all the way down to Fayette County. So the team is working to do that. We also are reaching out to our junior ROTC contacts in our local feeder schools to really see what we can do to talk about Penn West University, talk about the opportunities that are here with our ROTC program and just overall academic experiences. We've partnered with ROTC, both academic affairs and strategic enrollment management, as well as finance, to work on housing waivers or housing scholarships for incoming ROTC students. And so that's something that we are going to be pushing out over the next few weeks and into the summer. And then, of course, continuing that into the next recruitment cycle. So we're really fortunate to have the support of President Anderson, but also the whole university behind that effort. And they've been great partners to work with. We also are adding and proactively reaching out to a number of our top feeder schools on scholarship nights. So historically, high schools will have scholarship nights for their graduating seniors who have received scholarships not only within the community, but also from the universities that they've applied to. And so we're adding those scholarship nights. Most of those are going to be in May over the lead up to the high school graduation. So we'll be working on that. And so we'll report out more of those scholarship nights and events as they get scheduled and as we conduct those. So there's a lot going on, absolutely. We've also been doing a call campaign. This week, we're trying to call all admitted non-deposited students to check in and see where they're at and how our team can connect them to other resources or answer questions that they might be having, or just see where they're at in their college selection process. To date, in the last 4 days, our team has made 1,201 phone calls. So they've been busy on the phones, usually between the hours of 2 to 6 p.m. when students are getting home from school. So a lot of great conversations that are happening already with that as well. And then I just want to touch base on dual enrollment. So we now have the fall 2025 dual enrollment schedule live on the website, and students are already applying for fall 2025. And we are going to be posting the summer 2025 course listing probably by the end of this week. And so there's going to be additional opportunities for high school students who are looking to get ahead in their college career and get some of those college credits. To date, we actually have 70 applications for fall 2025. Same point in time last year, we had 21 applications. So that's a 233% increase in the number of applications for our dual enrollment programs. And that's only going to continue to grow as high school students are looking at their fall schedules and are starting to register and seeing what opportunities they have available. So I think we're going to blow last year out of the water in terms of the number of dual enrollment students. And again, that's really a university-wide effort, partnering closely with academic affairs and looking at the courses that high school students want to take. We've been able to really cultivate and curate a very great array and a depth and a plethora of dual enrollment courses that students really want to be in and they're introductory. And we're also really aligning closely with a lot of our faculty and staff on that opportunity too. So great stuff going on there. And then I'll just mention, We also are working on a number of enrollment marketing updates. So we're updating our view books as well as our communication plans for the next recruitment cycle, fall 2026. So while we're recruiting fall 25, we're still planning for fall 26 and beyond. So the enrollment marketing team has been busy working closely with the university marketing communication team on looking at our materials and what can we do to update that. So more to come, and we'll share those as those get updated throughout the cycle. I'll mention too that fall applications are up for Penn West University. We have just over 7,200 first-year applications, which is a 15% increase over last year. So that's really encouraging. Our admittance rates are up as well. We're up 21% in the number of admitted students across Penn West University. And then our deposits are currently up as well. Our net deposits were up 9.3%. So as we're going into this April yield season and May yield season, that's really a great place to be. Still have lots of work to do and a lot of pushing and reaching out, but we're excited about that. Also, our transfer applications are down slightly, as well as our deposits. It's still very early. When we look across all PASHE schools in Western PA, all three campuses, all three universities are actually struggling a little bit with transfer students. But we are doing a lot of activities, a lot of outreach, community college visits. We have 33 community college visits just this spring semester alone. So the team is working diligently to work through those applications. And then finally, I'll mention our graduate application deposits are up, as well as our application admitted graduate students are up too. So again, lots of great work that the graduate and online admissions team's doing, which is led by Assistant Vice President Adam Reynolds. So his team's been doing a great job on that. Next slide. And then we have gone out with our financial aid offers. We were the second PASHE school to go out with financial aid offers, just a little bit behind Slippery Rock. So we'll get them next year. But we were only trailing them by 7 days, but significantly ahead of some of our competitors like IUP, Westchester University, as well as Shippensburg and Millersville University. We actually are currently up 16% in the number of FAFSAs filed compared to the same point in time last year. So that's a really good leading indicator of students' interest. And obviously we want to go out with our best financial aid offer in front of them. And so, that I think is also helping contribute to the lead that we have currently in our overall deposit activity. We also are about to hit the deadline for the general scholarship application for all three campuses. And so far we have 1,131 current or returning undergraduate students that have applied for general scholarships. And that number is going to continue to climb as we get closer to the deadline. And then 890 incoming students that have applied for scholarships. And so beginning in April, a lot of the faculty and staff committees will be looking at those applications and starting to award scholarships to current students as well as incoming students. So that concludes my report, but I'm happy to take any questions that trustees might have. Trustee Bellini.
Great update, David. Thank you. I was going to ask a question about the dual enrollment. Is that in person, face to face, and online?
Yeah, so we have all three. We have options for both face to face across all three campuses as well as online courses. So we've worked really closely with Matthew Price and Roger Wolbert on the academic affairs side, and as well as Ayla Stopko, who's our dual enrollment coordinator, to identify those courses and then have the opportunities and the options for students to do face-to-face in many courses or even online if they maybe aren't close to a campus or can't make it to a campus.
So is it about an equal mix of the 100 and 200, or is it heavily weighted one way or the other?
It's about an equal mix. Each campus has, a good number of courses. I'd say probably 30 to 40 courses per campus or sections of individual courses. So, and then there is a good number of online options as well, probably nearly 50 online options.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We are seeing more students right now looking at the online courses. I think the flexibility that provides, but we have heard from a lot of our local area high school counselors and high school teachers that they do really want to have students in on-campus courses as well. So we really responded to those requests from last year to make sure that we had those in place for this year. You're welcome.
AVP David, you and your colleague have put us on such a positive trajectory. So do you think there's any one thing that's drawing more students, or is it the combination of all the opportunities you're providing?
Well, I do think that now that we're in the third year, going on the fourth year of integration, we really worked out a lot of the messaging. We still have continued opportunity there, but we no longer talking about like the challenges that Penn West provides or challenges that Penn West might have, but really the opportunities that Penn West provides, and looking at the full array of our programs and across all three campuses, as well as, the beauty of our campuses. I think that it's really drawing in students, and our admissions counselors are that much more comfortable having those conversations with high school students and parents as we're going through. So I think that's a big piece of it. And we've also really increased the partnerships and the outreach activities. I just wrote down here, we've done 770 off-campus recruitment events this year, and still growing, compared to last year where we did about 550. So, it's a significant increase of our outreach efforts as well. So the team has been traveling all over the state and beyond the state in recruiting students. So I think that's also been beneficial, coupled also with our scholarship programs.
We so appreciate your efforts and the efforts of your entire team. Thank you most graciously.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Student Affairs Committee. That report can be found on page 43 of your board packet. Committee Co-Chair, Trustee Kennedy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair Dunbar. The committee last met on March 5th in a combined meeting with Finance and Administration Committee to discuss student fees and dining rates. And now I turn it over to Dr. Susan Fenske, the Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness and Student Affairs.
Thank you, Trustee Kennedy. Luckily, our three student trustees have given you an amazing snapshot of what is happening from a campus life perspective on each of the three campuses. So thank you to the three of you for showcasing all the great work you and your fellow students are doing. Just a couple of other, some behind the scenes and some well-known things happening in institutional effectiveness. As Dr. Anderson said, we just finished our Middle States self-study visit, and we thank all the trustees who were involved in that process for participating and giving your perspective to the team. As Dr. Anderson said, it went very well. And the team will have the opportunity to look at the full final draft of the report, and then the commission will take their action in June. So we hope that maybe in July, we will know the final outcome of what the commission takes action on with regards to our self-study. So more to come in the next few months. In the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, we have a wide variety of wonderful themed month events happening and celebrations, but also happening, our very widely well-known Building Bridges dialogue sessions are happening. And those are not just taking place on campus, but also out in local school districts and giving local school students the opportunity for self-reflection and cross-cultural understanding. So really important, wonderful work that our students are engaging in with other students in K-12 districts. Also, we will be hosting, Penn West will be hosting the PASHE Summit taking place on October 29th and 30th. And that is led by the Office of the Chancellor, focusing on retention and student success across all parameters of students. And that will take place on the Clarion campus. So you all will have more information coming on that. The auxiliary services staff is happy to announce that the Pennsylvania State Employee Credit Union was selected as the successful vendor for Penn West, and we look forward to our continued partnership with PSECU and the value that they bring to our campuses, not only through the financial services that they offer, but also in the work that they do in providing wonderful financial education to all of the students on our campuses. On a fun note, if you are an Amazon customer, we have installed Amazon lockers on all three campuses for convenient package pickup for our students. As you might imagine, sometimes it's hard for Amazon. Amazon finds us at our homes very easily, but doesn't always find the students. So it's a great service to our students. And in campus life, one item that was not mentioned yet is Parent and Family Services hosted parent and family tailgates on all of the campuses in February at home basketball games, providing connections with campus resources for the parents, supporters, and students, and also to celebrate our basketball teams. Some interesting research that we've been able to do in collaboration with institutional research. We have been looking at the involvement of our students in student organizations. And our IR staff have created an impact analysis tool that allows us the opportunity to do that. And some of the information that we found out is that there was a 28% increase in involvement in student organizations from the 22-23 school year to the 23-24 school year. And also, we know that students who participate in student organizations are retained at about an 8% higher rate than students who do not. So some great information for us to be aware of as we continue to advocate for support and resources for the student organizations. Our residence life and housing staff are very busy connecting one-on-one with our residents to make sure that they know how to get registered for courses in fall if they are not already, and also continuing to work with them on housing assignments and applying for housing in fall. And they are also making valuable connections with incoming freshmen so that they can have their questions answered about living in residence halls on our campuses. The wellness area also very busy. The Office for Students with Disabilities here at the Edinboro campus is completing their 50th anniversary celebration. They have hosted a variety of entertainment, awareness, and educational celebrations over the past few months. And that celebration will culminate in April, on April 11th, with a disability fair. And there is more information on the OSD website if you'd like to find out about that, or we can share the information with you as well. But again, that is April 11th, and that is actually going to be here in this building. So please, you're welcome to join us. The Penn West California ice hockey team competed in their 19th straight College Hockey East playoffs in February and finished second place. The team also raised $2,235 for the Penn West Branson King Memorial Scholarship as part of their annual alumni game in February. And finally, our university police, still working towards integrating their systems, has consolidated the university police records management system, and that will be implemented within the next 60 days. Again, as we make progress towards capturing efficiencies with all of those different systems that we use across the departments. That is the end of my report. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Yeah.
First, I heard of an ice hockey team in Penn West, and I'm excited to hear that. Is it a team that competes against other universities, or is it local?
It's a club team
It's a
that
club team.
travels and competes against other club teams at other universities.
Okay,
Intramurals is us competing against ourselves on a campus. Clubs compete, but not at the NCAA level.
that may attract students.
It's
If they knew that they could continue playing ice hockey at school, even if it's not a,
It's funny that you mentioned that because Dr. Anderson also posed the same question generally about club sports, which as he shared at the luncheon today, we have currently 503 club athletes. And we know that often as students are high school athletes, they know that it is tough to have that work-life balance. And then as they're looking at prioritizing either their academics or athletics, do they want to continue to compete at that high level, or do they want to have a different balance in their lives that maybe NCAA athletics is not what they want to do? And so we are going to be working with strategic enrollment management and admissions to start to highlight those options. We do have some of the club sports who have coaches who receive stipends and have some additional requirements as part of their employment, or they're not employees, but they receive stipends. And they do recruiting. And so we're going to look at some of the current models, which hockey is one of those. And we're going to look at the most successful areas that recruit. And we're going to see how we could scale that across the other club sports and continue to grow our club sports, because it is very popular and it's a nice opportunity for students who want to continue to be active and compete at some level, but perhaps not at the intercollegiate athletic level.
I'm really excited to hear about an ice hockey team.
Good.
in Penn West.
Trustee Bellini, Edinburgh has one, or did.
An ice hockey team?
Club team, yeah,
Club?
yeah.
Did?
I don't know what the status is, but as recently as 10 years, within the last
Yes.
10 years, they had one, yeah.
I know we used to have a trap shooting team here too, because they shot across from towers over there. How could we find a comprehensive list of all of these club sports that, are they listed on the website?
I don't know that each individual one is listed on the website, but we can certainly get that to you. In fact, the conversation today that we had with Dr. Anderson, we did share the numbers of students on each of the teams by each of the campuses. So we do have that information easily shareable.
Do the club sports count at all towards the Title IX requirements?
No, they do not.
Okay. But if we looked at them, is it balanced?
No, there's all different involvement levels at the 3 different campuses and
Okay.
all different types of sports.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great report, VP Susan, and good questions, Trustee Mark. We'll now move on to Finance and Administration. This report can be found on page 57 of your packet. Committee Co-Chair, Trustee Vice Chair Larry will share a report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Finance and Administration and Student Affairs Committees held a joint meeting on March 5th. Discussions were centered around the following items. The university proposed a capital spending plan for the financial year of 2025 through 2030, which will be submitted to PASHE in May 2025. Discussions were proposed around the 2025-2026 student fees. And also discussions were proposed around the 2025 through 2026 meal plan rates. And now I would like to turn it over to the Finance and Administration's Interim Chief Financial Officer, Teresa Smith, to give us a full report.
Thank you so much, and you did an excellent job there in prepping. Today before you, you will have, as our trustee stated so clearly, 3 action items that you will need to address. Engage with the capital spending plan, the fees, all of our student fees, and of course, the dining options. Before I go any further, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, in my 5 weeks here, this would not be before you if it were not for my colleagues, Dr. Fensky, my colleague, our provost, and I have also Mike Canales, who is our facilities guru. I would not have been able to put these together this quickly had it not been for this team. They really did the heavy lifting, so I thank them for that. But as I stated, we have had a number of meetings, and they were actually meeting before I came on board to start discussing some of these fees. We wanted to make certain we took into consideration our students and the families. We did not want to impose any heavier burdens than necessary upon our students when we were looking at these, particularly at the fee piece of it that we'll talk about. But I wanted you to know that, and our students have been fantastic to meet with us in regards to fees and the dining options, that those action items will come before you. They have just been great to meet with us and give us very Very valid advice. The first one, though, I want to go to is the capital spending plan. It is an action item. This is an annual plan that has to be presented to PASHE. It will be presented after, of course, this Council of Trustees approval. The plan, as we stated when we met with both the Finance Committee early on and internally with our cabinet, has not changed that much. Most of you that are trustees that have been with us a number of years have seen this plan. It also is totally contingent upon funding. Totally contingent. These are not funds that we use locally to move forward any of these capital projects. So that's the first one that's out there. And Madam Chair, I'm not sure if you want to do them. I'm not sure how you want to present them in the order of action items. If you want to do them that way, or you're going to do them at the end. I'm just not clear how you do it. I'm sorry.
Is this a roll call vote? It's a roll call vote. We will handle them one at a time. So we'll take them motion by motion. Is that okay with you?
Okay. All right, next slide, please. This is I'm sorry, this is the capital plan. Like I said, our Finance Committee has met. So the Council of Trustees has seen this. And so this is the first action item. Next slide, please. So we're proposing that the Council of Trustees do approve the university capital spending plan proposed for the upcoming fiscal year 2025-26. And this plan does extend out through 2029-2030.
So everyone can see the action item. Trustees, this will be a roll call vote. All those, we have a motion and we need a motion and a second.
Second.
Trustee Bellini?
Yes.
Trustee Dunbar?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee John?
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy?
Yes.
Trustee Maggi? I'm going to try again. I know he's on Zoom. Trustee Nikolai?
Yes.
Trustee Oberlander left. Trustee Pape? Trustee Pickett? Yes. Trustee Weaver? Trustee Whitson? And Trustee Yost?
Yes.
Thank you.
Unanimously, we will move to the next motion. The next motion is that the Council of Trustees approve the student fee rate as presented effective fall 2025. Again, I need a motion and a second. Motion and a second. Do you want to do the roll call vote?
Trustee Bellini? Trustee Dunbar?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee John?
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy? Trustee Nikolai? Trustee Pape? Trustee Pickett? Trustee Weaver? Trustee Whitson?
Yes.
And Trustee Yost?
Yes.
Thank you.
So that carries unanimously. The next motion is that the Council of Trustees approve adjustments to the meal plan rates as presented for fiscal year 2025 to 2026.
Trustee Bellini?
Yes.
Trustee Dunbar?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee John?
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy?
Yes.
Trustee Nikolai?
Yes.
Trustee Oberlander is not here. Trustee Pape? Trustee Pickett?
Yes.
Trustee Weaver? Trustee Whitson?
Yes.
And Trustee Yost?
Yes.
Motion carries, none opposed.
So the pivot to the new food service provider, I think I can see why the kids are responding with taking advantage of the nighttime meals.
Total agreement, Trustee Pat. The food was outstanding.
Thank you. And with that, I'm going to let you in on a positive note because my colleague, Vice President Geiger, I think is going to be up next.
He will be. We'll move to the Advancement Committee report. That report can be found on page 65 in your packet. Committee Chair, Trustee Pape, the floor is yours to introduce Mr. Geiger. Trustee Kathy, you were to introduce Mr. Geiger.
Well, Jim, walking up, the Advancement Committee meets monthly and Jim will drill down on the numbers, but I can say the Day of Giving was phenomenal. And the raw numbers aren't as important as the continuous improvement in those numbers over time, and especially the number of donors.
Thank you. Thank you for the pressure of the good news, but we have it. So we're going to share it. On the screen now is the fundraising metrics update through February. As a total at the institution, we have a goal of 6.4 million. We were just shy of 4 million through that period of time, with our 82% of our goal. We do expect to hit that goal this year. So a lot of good things have happened in March, and we will continue to drive on those numbers. Same thing with donors. We'll share the numbers for Giving Day here in a minute. But we had really a huge day, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But the same time period, 73% to goal. We expect to hit that donor goal as well for this fiscal year. Next slide, please. Day of Giving. I needed a drum roll. Thank you. Thank you. The Day of Giving, then there's still funds that are coming in. Folks had an opportunity to mail checks. So as part of that mailing, we're counting those gifts when they come in. But through the Day of Giving, we had 1,160 gifts. That was a 42% increase from the previous year. And we had $261,292, which is a 58% increase over the previous year. So give yourselves a hand. We appreciate the support. Seriously. Everybody, thanks to Tony Morrow on our advancement team, Holly Pfeiffer, Randy Minerva, our communications and marketing team for helping us get the word out, our three foundations for their assistance. But it's the third year of growth now, in consecutive years. So it speaks volumes about some of the things we talked about earlier, about how we're really kind of maturing into Penn West and how we are seeing more and more confidence from our alumni as we're going forward. So thank you. Distinguished Alumni Awards, we've had them both at Clarion and California. Tomorrow night, they're here in Edinburgh. They're great events. They're great opportunities for us to celebrate our fantastic alumni. Homecoming 2025 here in Edinburgh, October 10th and 11th. At Cal, October 17th and 18th. At Clarion, October 24th and 25th. I would like to give a shout out to our partnership with the Clarion Borough for moving Autumn Leaf Festival to accommodate the change in our football schedule, which was made necessary by Mercyhurst's departure to Division I. So a great partnership. We're happy to have home football games at all three of our campuses for homecoming. I have highlights up here from each one of our campuses and their athletics. Hard to top the women's basketball team that was here today. We could literally have teams like that at every campus, at every trustee meeting. Our student athletes do a fantastic job in the classroom, on the fields and courts where they compete. Cal had 266 student athletes to the honor roll, total GPA of 3.3. The football team placed 5 players on the academic all-district team and placed 5 players on the academic all-district team. On the CS, there are 2 different groups there. Men's basketball placed second in the PSAC West and advanced to the semifinals of the PSAC tournament. They were 18 and 11. And we've heard a couple times today, we've announced flag football beginning in the fall at Cal. And we have a number of other announcements for all 3 campuses that will come shortly. Here at Edinburgh, we talked about the women's basketball team. They were fantastic. Women's swimmer Eliza Miller was a PSAC champion in the 500-yard freestyle. And men's basketball returned to the PSAC playoffs for the first time since 2017-18. Coach Jennings was a PSAC West Coach of the Year, and Center Everon was named the PSAC West Defensive Player of the Year. At Clarion, we've heard this also, fantastic year in diving. Luna Castellanos was named the Division II Women's Diver of the Year. This is the second time in her 3 years at Clarion she's been the Women's Diver of the Year. For the third straight year, Clarion diving coach Heath Calhoun was the College Swimming and Diving Division II Women's Diving Coach of the Year. So fantastic for both of those. And the Clarion women's basketball team headed to the first postseason appearance since 2017. So they have much improvement with their second year coach, Danielle Fleming. Next slide. That's it. Thank you.
Questions or comments from trustees?
I have another bit of good news. I found out today that the ROTC team that went out of state for the 226-mile ruck march competition all completed the ruck march in time. So I thought that's just recent. Thought that was something that we should publicize. It's great news. I mean, that's a tough thing. They got to wear a ruck and they got to march a marathon. It's always good.
Thank you for sharing that, Trustee Mark. We're up to the executive committee, and the vice chair of the executive committee, Larry Pickett, is going to do a presentation. This is an example of how a trustee is working with a faculty member to make a dream happen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The International Association of Technology and Management is really, in a nutshell, a collaboration between academia, research, and the business industry. And I like to think of it as a sharing of best practices. So academia is able to learn from the business industry, and the business industry is able to learn from research and academia. The brainchild of IATM is Dr. Singh. Next slide. Dr. Singh is a full professor of marketing at the Penn West University Clarion campus, but he has a love for global networking. And his passion is of such that I would be surprised if he didn't ask every one of you to be involved in some way with IATM. His passion really sparked me to have interest in what he's doing. And so if you think about this concept of IATM, I became active not only as a trustee, but as a chair to support him. Next slide. A little bit about me. I work at Carnegie Mellon University. And one of the things that, excited me about what Dr. Singh was doing is his marketing, his drive, his interests. And I believe in the global networking concept. I think that our focus on the global market may become an emerging market for us in terms of enrollment. I have the chair opportunity or the opportunity to serve as chair, but alongside with me is chairperson, Madam J.D. Dunbar, and a few other individuals that I won't have time to go through, but they serve on the advisory board. Many of them are international, and others are here in the U.S. across the many different states. To give you some feel about this organization, IATM, next slide. I want you to just get a sense of it. It's a nonprofit organization, and it's really committed, as I said, to fostering collaboration between academia, industry, and research. And the vision is to promote and advance the fields of technology and management. Our mission is also to encourage knowledge sharing. And as you think about many of the baby boomers leaving the workplace, here's an opportunity for young professionals, college students, to share their knowledge, to learn knowledge, to develop skills, and to network with many of those prominent individuals currently in the workforce. The mission, as I mentioned, is not only to network, but also to promote a culture of research and innovative learning. And when I think about innovation, I work in the business innovation department at CMU, and I know how important it is. Next slide. There are a few other things I want to mention about IATM. It focuses on mentoring university students. So if you think about young professionals who recently graduated, individuals who are new to research, and they have an interest in research, we try to interact with those individuals. Our goal is to support these new learners and help guide them through the process of research. How do you write a research paper? How do you conduct yourself to make a solid case for your research? We also talk about the environment where knowledge is shared. So if you think about information and data becomes today's oil. And one of the things we talk about is honing the skills of young professionals, honing the skills of even old professionals like me. Part of that means that we're trying to grow the curiosity of people to learn from data, because data is the thing that helps us drive the decision process. And the last point I want to make about IATM is that it focuses on mentoring. And so our goal is to really mentor people. Again, some are college students, some are recent graduates, some are adults that have an interest in research, in business, even in academia. Our goal is to mentor and network with them. Next slide. Recently, I did an online presentation with students and faculty at Mumbai, India. And I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to do it, but it was really exciting to do because I saw the passion, the interest that those students have. This particular slide I shared on social media, and I encourage us to use social media as a way of reaching other students globally. Next slide. I talked about what I'll call Mother India and how the transforming businesses of society today are really attempting to harness the power of technology. And I talk specifically to those young professionals about the role they will play. And when I looked at the data, India has a very fast-growing economy. And I wanted to encourage those young professionals about future opportunities. And as they become leaders, I encourage them to learn from professionals in the workplace across the USA, because it's understanding these things that will make them effective leaders. Next slide. I talked about 3 topics when I spoke about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I talked about the role of technology in business transformation. I talked about using technology as a catalyst for change. How will we embrace change in the future? Higher education is changing. The business industry is changing. We have to embrace that. And one tool that we can use is technology. But I also caution the importance of ethical considerations in this digital age. It's so important to think about AI, what we can do with it. So exciting. But I had a quote that is my personal quote I shared with these students, that we have the ability using AI to create a Frankenstein if we are not careful, but we also have the ability to create an Einstein. So we have to be careful, and that's where ethics come into play. Those of you in this room, leaders, researchers, academic professionals, you will play a part in how AI is shaped. And so I encourage each of you to be ethical, to think about your role in shaping the future. Next slide. A year ago, I did a presentation at another university in New Delhi. And I talked about the importance of being a visionary leader, the importance of seeing the future, and yet you are not there. I talked about the importance of students connecting with the people who were grandparents, learn their history, understand how you have come to the place that you are. I'm a first-generation college goer. I never forget, not even a day goes by that I don't remember my grandfather who labored very hard for me to be here today. And I share my own story with my children. And so when you see these two pictures, I want you to think about the population that never got to the place you are in and your commitment to pick up the mantle and take it forward. Next slide. In discussing those topics in 2024, I talked about leadership. I talked about using data analytics. I also talked about effective communication. And so when we think about the global world that we are going to be a part of, we have to think about understanding those cultures. And so part of what I encourage young people to do is to talk to those people who are currently in the industry, and not just their own industry. Talk to those in research if you are in business. Talk to those in business if you are in academia. There are best practices that can be learned. Next slide. This coming summer, not summer, but May, the weekend of the 28th through the 31st, we're going to be bringing many of these individuals from India, from parts of Europe, to Pittsburgh for what we'll call a conference on technology and management. And one of the things that's so important is that we're opening this up for students just to come and sort of make their way through the university and meet many of those adults who will be there. I have the pleasure of being able to say that we have some great speakers. Next slide. One of the great speakers that you'll see and you heard from today is Dr. John Anderson. Dr. John Anderson is able to really speak not just to this subject, but the subject of academia. And we're going to have a lot of young people hopefully there to hear him, but also adults who will hear him. I have a very good comrade and friend at Carnegie Mellon University, Peter John. He's the executive director of research. And I had the opportunity to work with the research team during COVID-19. I learned hands-on research helped me learn how to really understand the importance of business and the importance of bringing academia together. I also want to talk briefly about Dr. Sushi. Dr. Sushi is a leader in the country of India. And so we're going to have three facets. We're going to have academia, we're going to have research, and we're going to have business. These keynote speakers will hopefully help us see the importance of the future through different lenses. And this is my last slide, but I always end with a quote to the students. And my quote on that day when I spoke was, "It's never safe to look into the eyes of the future with fear." And this quote comes from Edward H. Harriman. He talked about the not knowing the future is fearful enough, but don't look into the future with fearful eyes. The future should be conquered. And this is the goal of every one of us. We stand on the frontier of artificial intelligence. We stand on the frontier of global marketing, networking. Academia is the laboratory for which that happens. I'm thankful that I had a chance to speak to you and with you today about IATM. Thank you. I'll take any questions. I'm not sure if I can answer them all, but I'm willing to try. Yes,
Larry, is it an open conference or is it a by invite only?
It's an open conference. Anyone can attend. It's our first conference, so we're learning as we fly the plane. And I think what I have also learned is that you can never get anything 100% right. And if you wait, it's something I learned in the field of Six Sigma called Pareto's Law, the 80-20 principle. If you wait until you know 100% of something in business, it makes you slow to the marketplace. And so it's so important to execute quickly, even based on what you know. And that is what we are doing. So again, the plane's in the air. We're still putting some of the bolts in. Thank you for that question. Any other questions?
It's a reasonable fee as well to make sure that people
Yes.
can afford to attend.
So for students, it's $55. And that will give them the opportunity to come and network and meet people and sort of move from one room to the next, panel discussions, keynote speakers. I think, and there'll be an online, so this will be a hybrid type conference. People will be calling in from India, from Europe, and they'll be able to see and hear the speakers as well. Thank you, Madam Chair. Any other comments or thoughts? Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vice Chair. And this is just one of what we hope are many examples of how trustees can interact with members of the university community to forward our university, our message, and educate others. Thank you. Now it is time to call for a motion for adjournment, but I will first let you know that our next quarterly meeting is scheduled for June 26, 2025 at the Penn West, California campus. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. There were 3 motions all at once on the right-hand side. If there were any over here that I missed, I'm sorry. So who was the first? Who was the second? So that Rachel has that. Donna was the first and the second was Danny or Neil? Is there anybody opposed to this motion? All in favor, please say aye. Thank you for your most gracious attention, but I want to thank the team behind us who set us up today in all the spaces where we were. I want to thank them for making us a little bit closer together, which I appreciate that you listened and that you did so that we can all have eye contact with each other, because I think that's important as trustees as we're voting on an issue and discussing. Thank you most graciously. Thank you, team.